Hey beauty, do you need to reset? I want to invite you to an intimate women's retreat for only 10 beautiful women, a space to pause, breathe in nature, and refill your cup. A place to recharge, reconnect, and remember the joy, play, and spark that have always lived inside of you. This is from October 23rd to 26th in the Laurentians, not even 2 hours from Montreal, Canada. Come and join us. All the details are in the show notes. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about sparking light in the darkest places. And our guest today embodies that beautifully.
Midlife butterfly, a woman in the sacred in between. She's not who she once was, and not quite who she's becoming yet. She's unraveling, awakening, remembering. She's navigating life transitions, divorce, loss, reinvention, moves, with a burning desire for freedom, joy, and soul-led living. She feels the pull to rise, to fly. She is no longer afraid of her own wings.
Welcome back to the Midlife Butterfly podcast. I am Ken Asio, your host, and I have the privilege of welcoming a woman whose story is filled with courage, resilience, and an unstoppable spark of love. Casey Taton is the founder of Little Moments, Big Dreams Celebrations, an organization that brings light and laughter to children in hospitals through parties for different occasions and events, with the mission to make the hospital a less scary place and allow them to find some joy. She is the host of Inner Spark podcast and has a community called Soul Sparks and Connections where women can connect and collaborate. In this conversation, we're going to explore how Casey's story of healing and courage has not only shaped her path, but also sparked light in the life of others. Casey, welcome. It's an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Kina. You're such a beautiful person. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and I know that this conversation is gonna be very inspiring because you are inspiring, and I can see your spark, just seeing you glowing now, having you in my presence. So yeah, I'm very happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I received that, and it's such an honor to be here.
Thank you. So I would like to start for us to tell us your story. That mystery illness that you have at one point that helped you build your resilience and drove you to the path where you are now, where you can spark the life of many people.
Yeah. So I was sick when I was a baby with spinal meningitis, and it is not something. I was only a few months old, so it's not something I really talk about,
Okay.
but I do know like the body remembers.
Yeah.
And so as I got older, I was pretty healthy. I did all the things. I was living my dream, what I thought was my dream life. And I was working in the operating room and I started getting sick and my life pretty much came to a stop. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, when I say stop, I mean like I lost my job. I became like unable to eat and drink. And it was a process. Like I started eating less and less and less, and then I would start feeling myself like getting sick and I would throw up. And I remember asking like doctors for help, and there wasn't any answers really. It was a long battle. Finally, like I quit my job. I was losing weight at an extremely fast pace. I wasn't healthy. I finally got admitted to this is like over months of like trying to fight, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And I got admitted to my local hospital. And I think it shook me because I worked in Western medicine from right out of high school
Mhm.
to like working in the operating room, helping surgeons side by side with them. And they were like, we don't know what's wrong with you. And so then when I got admitted to the hospital, they ran a bunch of tests and they had diagnoses showing that my stomach had stopped. And the answer was I had gastroparesis. And in my mind, I was like, your stomach just doesn't stop. So like anytime I would eat or drink,
Yeah.
I would throw it back up. I wasn't able to keep it down.
Okay.
Yeah. And so their answer to me, well, let's go back a little bit. I remember hearing that and thinking, okay, like, well, what's next? What do I do? And in that process, I saw a psych doctor. I saw all kinds of people coming in my room, out of my room. And I had a psych doctor come in my room for like 5 minutes. She was in there. I remember looking at the clock when she came in, and then I remember her leaving. And it was just a general conversation. And I remember her asking me questions like, do you feel depressed? Do you feel any of these things? Like, have you ever made yourself throw up? And I was like, and I clearly remember myself laying there saying, well, like, I've made myself throw up like one time, like when you get food stuck in your throat and you like stick
Uh-huh.
your finger in your, and you have like that panic feeling. And I was like, but that's the only time. And so she left the room, and I remember my mom coming back. I'm an adult at this time, with
Yeah.
living, I thought, my best life. And I had told my mom I had seen this doctor, and she asked how it went. I was like, well, it went great. She was only here for like 5 minutes. And my mom was like, oh, okay. You think it went great? And I was like, yeah, she was here for 5 minutes. She asked me a few questions. Like, I remember what she asked me, and then she left. And come to find out, in those 5 minutes, she translated that to I was severely depressed. I wanted pain medicine. I was anorexic and bulimic at the same time, and like attention seeking. And I was like, whoa, like,
Wow.
yeah, I remember crying, feeling embarrassed, and like so, like, how did this just, I just was mind blown. Like, how did this just happen to me? Like, this lady was in here and asked me questions. I was 100% honest, never thought it would lead me anyway to these accusations of what she was accusing me of. And at that point, I just remember crying and being so embarrassed. And I remember my mom fighting for me, telling the doctors, you don't understand. You just did a test that showed her stomach is not working. And also, my mom was like, if my daughter was doing this to herself, I would be the first person in here asking you for help. I would not be covering for my daughter. I don't know, maybe people do that. And I'm not putting any shame on people who have those conditions. I understand they are all very real conditions,
Mhm.
but it's something that I had never experienced and never thought of. So when I was accused of those things, I was like, what in the world is happening? I went out of this hospital. I went out of
Yeah.
this place. And so I I stayed there, and I saw more doctors came in, and basically the option they were giving me is we're gonna put a feeding tube in you. And I was like,
Oh,
no, like, I'm not settling. I had put feeding tubes, assisted putting feeding tubes in patients.
okay.
And like, I wasn't living a quality life, but I also knew that was not the quality of life I was going to settle for. I love the lake. I love the water. It brings me so much joy. And you can't get in the lake with a feeding tube. You can't get those things wet. And I was like, I'm not settling for this.
Mhm.
And they were like, you're going to get one before you leave. And I was like, no, I'm not. And I will leave this hospital. And so, I mean, they just kind of all looked at me like, well, we'll see you back soon because you're not going to live if you don't do this. And I was like, well, okay. And so I left the hospital and cried. And I was like, I don't, look to my mom, like, I don't really know what we're going to do. And my mom's
Yeah.
like, well, you just spoke your voice of like, I'm not settling for that. And she's like, we'll figure it out.
Hmm.
And so obviously we came home. By the grace of God, I bought a house 3 houses down from my parents. So if I wouldn't have done that, I probably would have had to move back in with my parents because I was so sick and so weak. But since I was so close, my parents could just walk down the street and help me. And So I fought for a while, and I knew that I had to go out of my state, that I was now like red flagged, and we only have two different hospitals here in Wichita, and that I was red flagged and that there was going to be no answer. Every doctor I saw was going to see all these things that I was accused of, wrongly
Okay.
accused of.
Uh-huh.
And so I traveled to Mayo. That was a big thing. I had to ask for help from the community. And I had a friend that came in town, and she, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Like, I'm going to lose my house. I'm not working. I'm going to lose everything I have. And she helped me write a GoFundMe. And then she also told me that she never realized, like, I could tell her how sick I was, but until you're living with someone, you're not actually experiencing it all. And so when she came and stayed with me, it was like, oh, she's really sick and she really needs help.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote a GoFundMe, and because at this time I've been not had a job for months, like my parents are paying for my house, they're paying for me to be able to live. I mean, they're paying for everything. And so,
How old were you, more or less?
um, yeah, so I'm 42 now, and I was in my 30s when all
Oh,
this
in your
happened.
30s. Okay.
hmm So the community support was amazing. I would have never done it without her, because telling the community and declaring that I was sick and that I needed help was not the old Casey.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much embarrassment around it. And for my family, my father's a small business owner. I think he felt like he wasn't being a father or doing his job, and they were providing for me. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not nothing about you guys, not, it's just we need more money to be able to go out of state. And so I live in Kansas, and the Mayo Clinic is in Minnesota. So being able to travel and stay there and get a hotel is very expensive. And there is no timeline on when you get up to Mayo. So I finally made it up to Mayo Clinic, and I reached out to them, and I was accepted as a patient, and I saw a few doctors up there. And the first lady I saw, she just, yeah, she agreed that they redid all the testing. She agreed I had gastroparesis. I resaw a psych doctor who, thank God for him, gave me my sanity back and made me feel okay, because he was like, I don't really know what your town did or said. He's like, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't see any of these things in you. He's like, I see a human being that's fighting for her life.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, and he acknowledged that to me, and that he would do anything he could to write back to my hometown to say that he didn't agree with what they said.
Yeah. I guess that was
So
such a relief for you, right? That finally
yeah,
somebody took the time to listen to you
yeah,
and to know more about it. Because how come this
mhm,
person with 5 minutes just have a whatever diagnosis for you, and
yeah,
you are like, how are you gonna go against a doctor in those
yeah.
cases, right?
And then you also become really careful about what you say, because I like replayed that conversation that I had with her, like as a human to a human, like where did I go wrong for her to say all these things? So
Yeah.
who do I trust and who can I trust now? And so that was another whole experience that I was going through, was like, I don't know what to tell these people for them to believe me or to trust me. Like, they had a test in front of them and they still didn't believe that. Like, what
Mhm.
more do you need? And so, yeah, that was a relief. I saw a lady up there who wanted to put me on some medicine and send me home, and she wasn't really sure, but my grandfather has Crohn's, and so she did agree that I had gastroparesis. My stomach wasn't functioning, and I just was like, there has to be more. Like, there has to be more to this.
Mhm.
My gut, my instincts were telling me, like, keep fighting. This is not the answer. And so did send me to another doctor who specialized in like Crohn's and other things. And he was the other doctor that actually listened to me. He sat down with me and let me talk. He was so comforting. I remember just bawling to him, telling him, like, I just want answers and I want my life back. And so we went through more testing. I spent weeks up there doing testing. And he was like, I think I know what you have. And that was like the biggest relief answer besides just the diagnosis that they had already given me. And so he did some testing and he's like, well, I do believe it's called MALS, is the short term, and it's median arcuate ligament syndrome. And it's where the ligament it like runs across your chest and down and it, like through your diaphragm, and it's basically cutting off the artery that flows the blood into your stomach. And so
Oh,
somehow my artery was being crushed or being compressed by the ligament, and my stomach wasn't getting the blood flow it needed to keep everything moving and to keep, like it had all stayed alive, don't get me wrong on that, but the blood flow to like keep food going through it and to keep it functioning.
mm-hmm.
And so he had sent me to a surgeon there that he thought could do the surgery at Mayo, and they had just switched teams, and that surgeon didn't agree and kind of wrote me off. And so I remember going back to him crying, and he wasn't even in office that day, or he was like in office, but he was done seeing patients. And I was like, I'm supposed to leave. I remember telling the front desk lady, like, I'm supposed to be leaving, flying back home or driving back home. I don't remember if I flew or drove that time, but my mom was with me, and I was like, this doctor said no. So what do I do now? Like, I can't stay another week. And so they went back and talked to him. He was still there. And so he saw me and he said that he did not agree with that surgeon and that they had just had a big change in their surgeons and that he did believe this is the condition that I had and he was going to write a referral outside of their clinic, which is very, very big for the Mayo Clinic to refer you to another clinic.
Oh.
And this doctor went above and beyond and did this for me.
Mm.
It was such a relief and such a I didn't know at the time, and I didn't know until I got back home, until I saw like my GI doctor here in my hometown that he was like, I guess he's like a renowned doctor, and like his father is very high and they've wrote all kinds of books, but I didn't see him as that. I saw him as another human listening to me cry and looking at my mom's face and telling me there was hope
Mm.
and telling me that he thought he knew the answers. And so he helped me get into another clinic. That was the Cleveland Clinic where I had my first surgery. So I had to travel quite a few times for surgeries. So I went to Cleveland and I had a laparoscopic surgery. And in the middle of that surgery, they nicked my aorta and they put a clip on it to stop the bleeding, and they stopped the surgery. I did not know that at the time.
Mm.
I woke up and like it's a laparoscopic, so I was only going to be there for like 2 days and they were going to allow me to fly home. I didn't know that at the time. They said that they had reported that the surgery went okay and that they thought everything would be fine. Well, so I was in the hospital there for a day or two, and my aunt had actually went to this with me and my mom. And we flew home in a big snowstorm. They were like, you can go home now or you can stay. And we chose to fly home right after my surgery. And I got home and I started having problems again. And I was like, like this was the answer. I thought this was the answer. I thought I had my life
Yeah.
back. And I remember getting a report in the mail that I had a clip on my aorta, that they had to stop the surgery, and they did not get my ligament cut all the way
Oh,
because they did
wow.
hit. Yeah, and so they didn't, they thought, and so when I called back, I was like, hey, I was never told these things. I realized I had a clip. I actually had like an X-ray or something that had showed it. And they were like, "Do you know you have a clip in your chest?" And I was like, "No, but I've had surgery." And so then when I got the report, I was like, "Oh, they did put a clip in me." Because I was like, "That doesn't make sense to me." And
Yeah.
so that was where the curiosity began. It's like, this is why. And so I called and they're like, "Well, we thought there was a good chance that the surgery would still work, but we didn't get the ligament cut all the way because we did hit your aorta." And so we would have to redo the surgery. And this time we would have to do it open. And so I knew that I didn't have another choice because I was starting to throw up again and everything, all my symptoms were starting to come back.
Hmm.
And so I looked into it. Well, a couple of months went by and the surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic, he moved to Dubai. And so then I had
Oh
lost my
gosh.
surgeon. Yeah. And and that takes doing an open procedure takes more of a team and they were going to have to connect it. And he has just said, "I'm leaving for Dubai and I'm sorry."
Hmm.
They have a big clinic there. And I was like, "Well, I'm not traveling to Dubai to have surgery." So I am in a Facebook community of people that have the condition that I have. And so with the support of them, I was able to find another doctor in Connecticut. So I traveled to Connecticut and I had open surgery with this doctor and I stayed there for 3 weeks. I wasn't able to fly home. My mom went with me again. We rented a hotel, did all the things, and I had to stay for 3 weeks because they don't want you to come home because they know that you're coming there for a reason. And if something happens, there's no one in my hometown that could take care of me.
Hmm.
And so I stayed there until I was better, until I met the requirements and they did all the follow-ups. And then I was able to finally come back home. And now, in the process, I also got a portacath. So I have a port in my chest where they would give me like fluids and hydration and stuff like that because they also killed my immune system along the way. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's there's so many pieces and this is
Hmm.
like years of fighting
Yeah.
and something in me, knew from the beginning that I wasn't settling for the answer and I wasn't settling for these people telling me this is it and I wasn't going to settle for that kind of life.
Yeah. You knew it because you are here
Mhm.
now. You
Yeah.
knew it. So
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story because it's, I mean, I, I don't have a clue. I've been at the hospital once with a broken wrist,
Yeah.
but you being there and then I, I, I don't know, as you say, you used to help patients, you know what it's to be in a hospital and
Hmm.
then you being the patient itself and then getting all the answers and then just people, I don't know, just not having the patience to take care of the patient itself is like it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's contradictory because you are the one who knows you are in
Hmm.
your body and how come is it that they just take it so slightly that it took you all that and to go through all that people to
Hmm.
to finally be heard and to have the treatment that you needed. Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm so grateful that you are here and
Thank you.
that's makes sense of who you are, of the light that you bring, of the
Thanks.
energy and love that I can feel from you every time I'm in your presence, because that love for yourself and for life, it's felt.
Thanks, Ken.
It's felt. Mm, yeah. And then with that all that courage and the resilience, now you're helping kids. You have
Yeah.
your foundation. So I would like to know more about that.
Yeah.
This
So
mission.
I was always the person that was on the go, from little to, I mean, I was always in sports, competing, staying very active. And when I got sick, I didn't know what to do. When I finally started feeling better, I was like, I can't lay in this bed anymore. Like, what is my life? What is my purpose now? I didn't know. And I had a friend that had reached out. She had a surgery that went bad here in our town, and she got life flighted somewhere else, and or to a bigger hospital, still in Kansas, but out of our city. And she's better. She got better, and she reached out and was like, "Hey, I'm doing these things. I'm doing these parties," and she was cooking meals at like the Ronald McDonald House, and she's like, "Would you like to help me?" And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, like that's something I can do."
Yeah.
I knew that I didn't know how much energy I would have, I was still healing, but I knew that would be something that would get me out of this bed, out of my house, and out of my head to
Mm.
feel a purpose. And so I started helping her, and she had a son, and we did it for a little while, and she's just like, I'm not really getting the connection with the hospitals, and my son's getting more busy and more active, and he's growing. And she's like, would you like to just kind of take over this? And I said, yeah. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. No
Uh-huh.
idea. And so I remember going to this nurse, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna take over for what she's doing. What can we do? Like, how can we make this work? How can we make this grow? And this nurse is like throwing all these ideas. Well, can we celebrate these kids? Can we do this? And I was like, sure. And then I walked out of there, and I remember thinking, holy crud, what did I just say? Like, I just said yes, and I have no idea how I'm going to pay for that. I have no idea where the things are going to come from, but I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I did. And I reached out to the community, and now we're like 6.5 years later. We
Wow.
do, yeah, we do. I have a great group of volunteers. I keep it very community based. I want the community to be involved and around these kids. And so we do birthday parties for kids. We have a lot of kids here fighting cancer. So we do their milestone treatments. We do when they finish some certain type of treatment along the way. Any kid, it's not just cancer kids, though. We have so many other conditions here that people don't talk about, and kids that are fighting different things. We do those kinds of parties for them when they finish any type of anything. And then we do like sunshine bags also. Like my condition wasn't cancer, but it's a long road. It was a long journey for me, and it did stop my life. So not comparing the two, not saying one is, different than the other, but just saying that no matter what someone's going through, I wanted them to feel the love.
Mm.
And so I've done kids from like the age of 2 or like 2 months all the way
Mhm.
up to like 22 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. And so the sunshine bags, I think I kind of skipped that. The sunshine bags are for like, I think you said you broke your arm. So, I mean, that's traumatic for somebody who's never been in the hospital, especially if you're there for a long time. And so any kid that's been there like over a week or two that just needs a pick me up, we provide like those kinds of sunshine bags. We have snack carts at one of our local hospitals. We have
Mhm.
them on the pediatric floors, and we do all kinds of events, holidays. We do it 365 days a year. People are like, do you stop? I'm like, no, I worked in the OR. We still operated on Christmas, and these kids, they fight 365 days a year. So we celebrate them all year long. Like they don't get days off.
Yeah,
And
that's
so, yeah. And so my mission is to bring smile and make it feel like not such a scary place. As an adult, I lied in there, and I remember thinking, this is scary. You're staring at these
Mhm.
plain walls. Like there's nothing to do, even if I did feel like doing something. And so I wanted them to be able to connect, and I wanted them to be able to connect with the nurses. So
Oh,
yeah, when the
beautiful.
nurses, yeah, the nurses get to bring in the cakes, the nurses give them the gift, and it also brings a different connection with them to make them feel safer and seen. And it also takes a weight off of the parents' shoulders, especially if it's a birthday. We have a lot of
Yeah.
families that come from out of town here, drive a few hours, and they don't know how long they're going to be here. They don't know how long they're going to stay, but especially if they hit big miles like a birthday or something while they're gone. They still want to be able to celebrate it, but how are they going to get the things?
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Wow.
we do all kinds of things.
That is so beautiful. And it's great that, as you said, like you celebrate different milestones and their birthdays and wow, having that mentality that you say, like, like an OR that is like it's 365 days a year. That's it.
Hmm.
And that's true because I mean, if these kids they have cancer or they have other things, like we don't know for how long they are going to be there. It's one day at
Yeah.
a time. And I guess
Yep.
that's why you have this little sign behind you, live for today, because tomorrow
Hmm.
we don't know. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we take it for granted most of the
Yeah,
time.
we do. Yeah. That is something big that I learned. One of the things when I started doing these parties was I didn't realize the connection that I would get to have with these some of these kids and the families. And actually before COVID, we did arts and crafts with them. So that would give like the parents a break and we would get to spend time with them and get to play with them. And so that was a deeper connection with a lot of those kids. And I never thought that I would lose kids. And I remember losing the first little boy, and his family had a run in memory of him. And we went out and helped with the run. And then a couple years later, I lost two girls that I was pretty close. One was came in from out of town, and the other lived here. And I became close with both of their families, and they were both turning 16 the same year. And I you don't know at the time that it's going to be their last birthday. Like I just did the birthdays. I remember like a mom reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, we're in town. I know it's a Saturday. Is there any way like we just had to leave on like leave on right then when they called and we weren't preparing for all this. Is there any way you could like throw a birthday together? She has a friend that's going to come in and see her from out of town, but like we don't have anything here." And it was yeah, yeah, it's a Saturday and yes, I have things going in life,
Mm,
but that was more important. And I threw stuff together and, like went and got them some pizza, decorations and put stuff together and took it to them. And that was the last birthday and it brought so much joy to
mm,
them. And I mean, we
mhm.
didn't know it was going to be her last birthday. They sent me photos of her smiling and her having a good time with her friend. And
Yeah.
that was that was her last birthday. She passed away after that. And so I've been to
Oh.
funerals. These families like have invited me to come to their funerals,
Uh-huh.
and it's just an honor that they consider you part of your family. And you
Oh.
do become a part of their families because we're watching them go through so much.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Mm, mm,
I think the most
wow.
important thing about this is these kids have taught me so much about life.
Like what?
You
Can
know,
you give us some examples?
yeah, I mean, at first I was really doing it for my own self of like, how do I give back to the community? The community gave me a chance. And these kids, they're kids and they want to be seen as kids. They don't want to be seen as someone that's sick. They
Mm,
don't want, like, so when you just get to go in and, play with a kid and watch them smile and have fun, they're just so resilient. A majority of them, you wouldn't know they were fighting a battle because they are just happy-go-lucky kids with,
wow.
I'm just here to have the best time, and they're not thinking about tomorrow or the next day. They're living in the present
Mm,
moment, and it's just so beautiful. And the thank yous and the hugs, and I was up there at Christmas, and a little girl came running down the hallway and hugged me, and I was like, this is why I do these things. It's because I'm making an impact and these kids remember it. Just recently, we do Christmas in July. We turn we turn the hospital into a beach Christmas Hawaiian theme. It's cold here in
oh, that's so
Kansas.
fun.
I mean, it's so hot here. We turn it into like a beach thing. And so we turn like the whole floor into like a beach Hawaiian theme. We have a Santa come. We have, superheroes come. We do crafts and have snacks and this year, one of the girls that I did a party for in the past, this is like her second year helping me. Her and her mom come and they volunteer, and she also makes posters for me. She spoke, and it took my breath. And I think the marketing team was up there interviewing us, like, why do we do these things? Everybody wants
Uh,
to know, like, why do you do this?
yeah.
And she had quietly said, I was the recipient to getting those smiles. Like, I was the one that got to receive those smiles from her. And so they interviewed her, and she asked me, I did interview her, or she interviewed me for her senior paper. She now wants to go on and be a child life specialist. And they're the ones that I work with, the team that I work with to coordinate all these parties. And that's what she wants to do because she said, when I didn't think I was being thought about, heard, or seen, you made me feel all those things. And I want to go to college and bring that back to the hospitals. And so she told her story, and it's moments like those when I get a little frustrated or I feel like a little overwhelmed, like keep me going.
Yes, of course. Oh, wow. You have me crying here. It's very touching because, I mean, something that again, you started just from you trying to, you know, help back that community when you get the help that you needed and the support that you needed. And it's hard, more like for women to ask for help.
Yeah,
It is so hard. And the impact that you are creating is so beautiful, and giving the opportunity to these kids and these families to have, these moments of joy for whatever it lasts. But as you say, like, they are present, they are there, they are joyful, and you giving them that. It's such a beautiful gift, Casey.
thanks. I I uh, I truly make it a community event. I go out to our local schools and have them make posters, and we rely on the community for donations. I have people like within the last year recently sending, things over. We have an Amazon wish list, and I have people like sending us money on Venmo or donating, buying us things off the Amazon wish list and sending them here. And it's just going to keep growing. I know it.
Of course you
I hope,
will.
yeah, it's going to be like, yeah, it's going to keep growing. And these kids need things outside of the hospital as well to connect to just be kids and to live and to get to, see other kids, relate with other kids. And they, the parents touch my heart every time because they are so grateful that someone is seeing them. And they also need the support from other parents who have gone through something. And so I often don't want to take the credit for it because I'm like, yes, I am the face of my organization, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, I am. And but I truly want it to be other kids giving back, other businesses giving back, other people. I just can relate to the families because I've been through the journey and spent a lot of time in the hospital myself. So I
Yeah.
think that's just where the deeper connection comes in. But it's truly just our community is great. When you look out, people say this world is not a good place. And I'm like, open your eyes a little bit bigger. There's
Mm,
so many good things happening and so many people loving on people they don't even know. But if you just got to be open your eyes and look around, and
yeah.
it's just magical.
Hmm. Oh, wow. That's true, because I guess it's probably for people who we haven't been much in hospitals, it just creates an impact, right? And you see that something's bad because then a dear one, it's sick, it's there for a reason,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
as you say, like, once being there, and it's just bringing me the memory when my father was at the hospital. There's so much love in there. There is so much love. And that's true. It's about seeing that and propagating that, and also like the gratitude that we can bring to the people who are supporting them there, and then to the people like you that you can bring that gift to those kids and to those parents as well, because I cannot imagine being a parent and having to go through that. Yeah.
There's so much love and support if you're at a place when you're sick, if you can open and receive it. There's people that want to help and want to, give you things or just, have a conversation with you, just so you're still feel like a human being. We want
Yeah.
connection and
Hmm.
not just to be left alone.
Yeah. And it's about, as you said, I mean, that's what it's about, those little moments, right? Those
Mhm.
little moments that can bring you that spark. And it's just, it could be for a few minutes or it could be for a few hours, and it doesn't matter. It's just that moment of bringing you joy and presence with another person and bringing that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, oh, he's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Ah. So besides the story of this little girl that you said, the one who celebrated, that you celebrated her last birthday, and of course you didn't
Mhm.
know, do you have any other like very, like, I guess all of them are special moments, but that's
They
something that
are.
is more memorable for you, or that it touched you a bit at a deeper level?
I think probably the girl that is now going to college that came back and volunteered for me
Yeah.
really opened my eyes to, and I hope to have her on my podcast sometime because she's so beautiful. And you don't think about these things because she is older. And so, I do kids all ages, and the younger kids are fun. I hear more feedback from the younger kids' families. But when she reached out to me to ask to interview me for her senior paper for high school, I was like, what? Like, what? Why would you want to interview me? Like, what?
Yeah.
This is what I do. And she's like,
Uh,
but what you're doing made a lasting impact on me and changed my life in a place when I wasn't seeing the hope. And so, yeah, for her just to say that and then come back and volunteer and get to give the joy back to other kids. And now
mhm.
she's going to college to, get all these degrees to do things. And she promised me she'd come back home for breaks and help me
Yeah.
because
Oh,
yeah, her and her mom are just a light, and they try. I mean, they're like an hour away, so we're their closest hospital, and over an hour away, and we're their closest hospital, so they travel, and it's just so great to get to connect. I have my family that lives a few hours away, and they let me know when they're going to be back for their appointments. And I usually try to stop by the hospital and see them, or, like she loves McDonald's. So even if I just drop her off some McDonald's to eat, like it's just the little things
yeah.
that take your breath away.
Mm. Mm. Wow. I want to turn things around a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
I mean, this is so inspiring, and you being, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's simply so inspiring. What can I say? And we're going to put all the information about your foundation and your podcast in the show notes so
Yeah.
people can reach out and support you and the community and all those kids that they really need a spark and enjoy and a cake and balloons that that we might take
Yep.
for granted, but for them it might be a world to have something like that in a little, in a little room. So yes. Well, since we know each other over a year and we're just such a beautiful sisters, and
Yeah.
turning it around to our midlife where we are at this moment,
Hmm.
I know you had a frozen shoulder,
Yes.
which is something that is not very known, and to women who are going to perimenopause and menopause. So I would like us to share about your story a bit about that, and then also the learning lesson of having to slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you hear about these things, but it's something that it's not talked about. And I told you once I got better, even though I still, and I have some autoimmune things that I deal with. I joined a boxing gym for a while, and then I switched to CrossFit. and was playing co-ed soccer. And so I just like to go. I like to move my body. And I think some of it is from like I spent years in my bed sick and I was like, this isn't me. But also I was like that as a child. I wanted to go all the time. I was competitive. And so I woke up one morning. I love CrossFit. I There's nothing better than throwing a heavy barbell down. And if you would have told me that like before I started, I looked at these people like you're crazy. You do what for fun? You like lift these weights and you climb these ropes and you like jump over boxes and you run and you slam balls. Like, how is that fun? There is something so fun and so fulfilling about doing these workouts every morning, and I love it. And I went and I love the community that our gym has. And I woke up and I was not able to lift up my arm. And so, yeah, at first I just thought maybe I had just messed up a muscle. I kind of had felt it like it was getting stiffer and I didn't know what was happening. And I thought I just messed up something. And come to find out, frozen shoulder is a common thing. I went to the doctor after. I was like, I can't get dressed. I can't get my clothes on. It stops everything you're doing when you can't reach your hair,
Yeah.
reach your teeth, cut your food. Like I could actually at that time I could cut my food because it had just affected my shoulder. And so I went to my doctor and he's like, yeah, it's a common thing. If you take steroids, get the inflammation out of it. Sometimes we can do an injection in it, do physical therapy, do some stretches. In a couple weeks, it'll be fine. That was not my case. I I was super aggressive with it, and I don't know, like I was like doing massages, like what did I do to myself? I did healing work. I was like, if there's like old stored trauma in there, like get it
Mhm.
out, body, I love you, like whatever. I went to
Yeah.
physical therapy and they were scraping me. And so in the process of my frozen shoulder, they also damaged the ulnar nerve at my elbow. It somehow got damaged. And I don't know if it was so with frozen shoulder, like I couldn't lift my arm up. I had to have assistance. I had to receive, ask, all those wonderful things. I think it started at the end of March. And now we're like in September, like,
September. Wow.
yeah. And so,
Has it
um,
improved though?
yeah, so my range of motion has improved. I did lose, so they did hit my ulnar nerve and my elbow, and I lost full function of my left hand. I woke up one
Oh.
morning and my hand was like clawed and like stuck at my chest or like stuck at my waist, and I couldn't move my fingers. I was like dropping things. And so I like stroke tested myself and I was like, what am I gonna do? But I'm not going to the ER. And we have an orthopedic ER. And so I went there and she was like, oh yeah, your ulnar nerve is when people lean on it, they type. If you put pressure on your elbow, your ulnar nerve is right there and it's very sensitive and it controls these fingers. So
Ah.
if you damage it or push it out of where it's supposed to be, you lose control in these fingers. So I spent time, I could not cut my own food. I could not dress myself. I got, yeah, I had to ask for everything. I washed my hair,
Ah.
and at one time, the
Uh,
farthest my hand would go was like right here. Well, then when I lost
your
function in my
cheek.
hand,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was like, how do I one hand everything? And I just adjusted. I did have an injection where they went in and filled the cup. There's like a cup that holds fluid right there, and they filled that up, and it's better. I've done a lot of healing work. I also am into alternative therapies, and
Yeah.
so I do red light therapy. I do the I cryo freeze. Or we have a night cryo here. I do their freeze chamber, and I do all the red light beaming. I have a natural doctor as well as a medical team here, and so I let my natural doctor work on it. I've done healing sessions to see if there was like trapped emotions because I believe
Yeah.
in it all.
Mm-hmm.
Once you fought a battle, I think it opened my eyes to see the world as a different place. And so come to find out it is a very, very common thing. I did a podcast episode on it and all these women reached out to me and I was like, what? Like, how did I never hear about this before?
Yeah.
And what do you do? And it was like some people were like, oh, it was gone in like 2 weeks. And some people were like,
Huh.
it's been years. And they were like, welcome to perimenopause. And I was like, wait, what?
What? Wow.
Like, I just turned 42 in June. Like, what is happening to me?
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
I knew about it because of you. I'm like, what's a
yeah,
frozen shoulder? Like, what is this thing?
yeah. I mean,
Wow.
it is something real. I, yeah, I've seen all kinds of doctors. I can actually lift my arm up like with assistance. It's not gliding. You can't see on the video, but I can lift it up. I do wear braces at night, still trying to get the function back in my hand. So I have an MRI scheduled just to make sure I didn't tear anything. But the big thing you want to know the big thing I learned? I'll
Yes.
ask.
Yes, please.
So I've learned a couple huge lessons.
I know you did. And I want you to
Yeah.
share because, yeah, I know, yeah, some people can relate. And not only because of having a frozen shoulder, because of any other kind of, you know, illness that we can get. And we are,
Mhm.
I mean, we get pushed, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
please share your lessons.
Uh, there are tons of lessons I learned. I was a goer doer, and I'm not gonna lie, it has not stopped me. I still go to my CrossFit gym every single morning and I walk on the treadmill because I still get up early. Yes, I'm that person that's like I want to be surrounded in the community and I still want to move my body. However, it stopped me. It made me ask for help because I could not carry anything, do anything with my left arm. And I don't think if anybody needs a challenge, go function with one arm today. Go like opening jars when you have no grip in your hand, cutting my food. I've had to learn to slow myself down. It forced me. So I started with the frozen shoulder and I was pushing myself. And then when my ulnar nerve got damaged, then I was like, okay, I said I slowed down, but did I really slow down? Like I could still use my fingers then. So I don't think I really slowed down enough when the universe is God, whatever you want to call it. It's like, I need you to stop for a second.
Yes.
I thought I stopped and I didn't really stop until I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to ask for help and I am going to have to be able to allow myself to receive help.
Mm.
And how am I going to organize my life where I can still eat? I am gracious enough. My boyfriend is super amazing, and we meal prep our food anyway for most days, but I couldn't use a knife and a fork to cut my food. So he cuts all my food. My parents helped me cut all my food. I wouldn't go out to eat for a while because I was like, do you know what it's like to go to a restaurant and not be able to cut your own food or like hold a plate and like that person like scrambling it around? It's like all the things you don't think of.
Yeah,
And so I have learned to slow down my life. And that's the biggest one
the
is
biggest.
slow down and
Yeah,
ask for help. And people will help you if you ask, and you have to be okay asking and
yeah,
receiving.
of course. And that's the thing. It's hard to receive. When we are givers, it's
Mhm.
hard to receive. But what we don't know is the fact that abundance, it has to be a cycle of it, and we
Yeah.
have to allow ourselves to receive.
And that's probably another huge lesson because when I got sick, I did allow people to help me, but I was embarrassed about it. And so this was like another sign, like, hey,
Yeah,
you're not allowing fully the receiving end.
yeah,
And so now you thought you got healthy, but now we're going to throw this at you and like make you stop and think about what are you doing in your life? Are you fully allowing it in? Are you allowing people to give back to you as much as you're giving out? And
yeah,
it was, yeah, so many lessons in all this.
yeah.
So
I've
welcome to midlife.
exactly. I want to ask you because you mentioned it way before at the beginning, and then you're mentioning now again that you feel embarrassed.
hmm
Why why do you think you feel like that, or what is it that is coming from that you think that you feel like that?
I think I'm working my way through it. I'm gonna be honest, it does creep in every now and then. especially with the work I do, because those kids are embarrassed that they're sick. I mean, they're embarrassed when they lose their hair. And if I don't work on myself, I can't fully give to them and tell them it's okay if I'm embarrassed in my own self. I was embarrassed that I went from this great job to almost losing everything.
Mm,
And then I had to ask for help. And I think it's the things in the life that you learn, like you just go and you do things and you figure it out.
mm,
Um, God love my parents. When you have a dad that runs a machine shop, he's his own boss. He's like also a great father, but it was like he's figured it out
mhm,
and that's what he does. And so that's kind of been the mindset I had is you just figure it out.
mhm,
And so I think there was embarrassment around I don't know how to figure this out and do it by myself. And I can't do it by myself.
mhm,
And so really having to lean on other people.
mhm.
Also that I think I held that I thought I was doing that I was healthy. And I am gonna claim that I am healthy. I am well, like I'm
You
just
are.
experiencing this right now. And there's always a reason and a season why we experience different things. And so this was another eye-opening thing for me. That's really just brought me back to, is your heart open? Are you gonna allow
Mm,
yourself to receive the love, receive the words, receive help? And you can't give to these people if you don't allow it in.
mm, yes. Yeah. And it comes a lot of surrender in there, right?
Hmm.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of it. Because we are like, okay, I surrender. And then we have the resistance. It's like, no, I surrender again. And then the resistance come.
Oh, I can't
It's-
tell you how many times I've like laid on the ground and been like, God, universe, like I'm listening, like just give me the answer. Like I just full face bawling, crying, like gone and grabbed a donut and ate a donut and was like, I don't even like donuts, but I'm gonna eat it because I'm like, no, I don't even know what to do. And then I like would cry again of why did I eat the donut? Why I don't even like those and why am I going through this? And it's just like, okay, I give. There's lessons and patience is my key to moving forward. I have an MRI coming up. They're going to do an MRI on my shoulder just to make sure there's nothing torn in there because it's been such a long journey.
okay.
And here comes the patience lesson because it got bumped back. It was supposed to be next week. And the hospital doesn't have enough. They have to sedate me for it. And they don't have enough anesthesia team. And so it got pushed back 2 more weeks. And I was like, and I remember the call, like, are you kidding me? And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, give it up. There's a reason and there's a purpose of like maybe this just needs some more healing time and I need some
Yeah.
more time to just allow myself to slow down
Mhm.
and it'll happen at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other element, that trust in knowing that
Yeah.
we are supported, we are guided, even when we're going to these challenging, times.
Hmm.
And yeah, and having that trust of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other powerful thing is that if you're not involved in a community, every person, especially every midlife woman, should be involved in a community because the
Yes.
power of other women, other ladies connecting on such a deep level and not just a, hey, how are you doing level.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that we get to meet weekly and spend time with each other because you
I
guys have
am
taught me
too.
so many lessons. Like, I'm so grateful. It is a gift. And I know that you have a community that you offer so much in and your bright light and just the deep connection, and it's needed everywhere.
Yeah, it is needed. Yeah. Like, yeah. Well, it was great, that I was in your community to offer, my workshop. And then I had the opportunity to do it here in person. And,
Oh,
and it's just, we, yeah, we need to be listened and seen and supported, or even just, be in a safe space. Sometimes, we're
Yeah.
going through a lot of stuff that is just like, I just want to be in a safe space. I don't want to share. I don't, but just being there, it's more than enough to have that support from other people. And as you said, especially like among women, it's a different energies. It's
Yeah.
yeah, when we know we can be in a place that we're not judged, that you're just there to give or receive or just be, simply be, is
Yes.
so nourishing.
The being. When we can just be like, if you haven't been in a community, if there's someone listening that's not in a community, if you can't find one in person, there's tons online. We all have communities online. But if you have the opportunity to be in a community in person, it is so magical just to be able to hold space. I mean, and I'm grateful for technology too. Don't get me wrong, because I mean, we got to learn what you're doing now through technology, like through the
Exactly.
Zoom, like we don't get to be next to each other. But at the same time, I also get to feel you guys with me all the time. Like
Mhm.
I can hear your voices in the back of my head because we've allowed each other that that safe space, and that like it's just it's another thing. I don't know that people fully understand the power of it.
Mhm.
And there's no judgment. Is that we're all going through, we've all been through different things, and no one's
Mhm.
judging. We're just like, we're all in this midlife situation and let's rise together.
Yes,
And
please.
just like
Yeah,
the butterfly rises. Like I love the name of your podcast because
thank you.
it's truly the purpose of this life is we're here to love each other and to rise together.
Yeah, yeah. And to the listeners, to the women who are saying, like, where are these communities? We do exist. We do
Yes.
exist. It depends where we put the focus and the intention. If you are not in there, give it a try, search, and you will find. Because yes, they are. We know now, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before I used to be in another kind of communities, and once we start working ourselves and knowing and being guided by this love that we feel for ourselves and for life, we can
Mhm.
find people who are in that same energy, and it's just like so magical.
Yeah. It changes the whole way. Doesn't matter what kind of day you're having, you know you're gonna rise with someone else.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Mm. I guess that's beautiful to wrap up this conversation, Casey. But before that, I want to ask you a couple of questions like, how
Okay.
would you call this chapter of your midlife that you're going through at this moment?
Whew. Um, well, some days I want to say it's like I'm a teen crying again and I have no idea what's going on in my life. Other days I'm like, this is probably the best thing because I have other sisters to help guide me through this journey of life that I didn't know existed until it hit me. And I'm
Oh,
so grateful for that.
that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Accepting life as is, I
Mhm.
think, is the best that we can do. What is a pleasure that you enjoy the most?
Whew. I'm gonna tell you the lake, the water. I know that seems like a crazy pleasure, but just being in the lake, like if anybody knows me knows that I'm a lake girl. I love the
Mm.
surfing. I love being submerged in water. And when I'm not around the lake, I take a good nice shower. I just let everything from the day just like wash off of me and I just feel refreshed. But you are teaching me some new things, so I'm excited to learn.
Oh, my pleasure. We continue.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Casey, for sharing your story, for sharing your light, your love, your spark with us. Has been a pleasure having you here. I'm gonna be sharing all your contact information in the show notes so people can reach out to you and can support you with your organization to bringing that spark to the kids and to the families that need it the most.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me. You're such a light in this world.
You too. I love you.
Love you.
Here is a bonus part that happened after finishing our interview. Enjoy!
Midlife is truly about like being that teen again. Before, when we were a teen, we did the ugly cries, and people used to look at us like we were that teenager, and they would really just say, "You're doing teen things." But in midlife, we're just ugly crying. Like our body, I have no idea why the fuck I'm crying, Kana. Like, why? There's tears running down my face, and I have no idea. And I feel like my body is not in control. And it is one of the most craziest things I've experienced. But I know there's another side to this when I get it all wrapped up and figured out. And it's also allowing me to cry and feel my feelings. Like, that's the truth of it, is before we put like shame and those things on it when we were a teenager, like, oh, they're just doing these things. It's like we shut them down, and now we're adults doing these things, and we're like, we don't know what's happening with our body. We really don't.
No,
Yeah.
we don't. And the thing is, as we know, the studies about perimenopause and menopause just started in the 1990s. So of course we don't have much information. We're discovering it the way.
Yeah.
And it's just, allowing. But as you said, and we talked about shame yesterday with our sister
Yeah.
Dana, it's about putting it out there to fade that shame away, because that's not us, and it's happening to other people, and the importance of speaking it up.
Yeah, and we're here to normalize that. We're all going to go through that wherever you are. You're going to go through the perimenopause. You're going to go through the menopause. And let's freaking talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Thank you for tuning in to Midlife Butterfly. I hope this episode empowered you in some way. Share the love by hitting follow wherever you're listening, and leave a review if you feel inspired. I also love to connect with you. Come say hi on Instagram at Midlife Butterfly. I love to know you. Until next time, keep spreading those wings and live in joy, growth, and pleasure.